Welcome forward and into today's discussion about resilience. The beginning of our 500 seconds, the urgency meeting about resilience. A new day we get to experience, to work with, work through, and to produce from our unique beauty and presence. It's been many years since my time in active duty as an Army officer and combat airborne paratrooper ranger officer. Long time. But even though it's been decades now, I learned so much about leadership and training and discipline during that time. Strategy and tactics to make the instruction that I got there useful and applicable in actual and simulated conflict or combat environments. But many things and approaches I learned at West Point and then in the Army, I have taken forward with me and applied in my civilian life as well. I'm sure at some point I will start to use more of those lessons from the Army time in other 820 episodes. But for today, I'll focus on that acronym that you saw in the title, LPOP, which means listening post / observational post. While those words haven't changed, I still want to focus on the application of those in my life today. And the daily application of them will hopefully make sense to you today, even if you haven't spent time in the Army or in the armed services. And also, obviously, I want to connect that term from the military, LPOP, from the military side to the civilian side, but also to the overarching construct of resilience. So, LPOP. Back in the Army, during my glorious days in the Army, when we had set up patrol bases or rally points or defense perimeters, we would strategically place LPOPs outside of the perimeter to enhance our security and our ability to respond or to repulse an attack. Just for context, if you've never been in service, military service, the enemy will not send you a memo or make an appointment to kill you. They're going to pretty much show up when they want to, and you can remain alert of that possibility. Thus, the importance of a strong defense, awareness, security, in this case, LPOPs. I'm not being funny, but the enemy will not, call you, hey, by the way, are you available next Tuesday? We'll be there with our people to kill you. No, they will kind of just show up unannounced and unexpectedly. So it is vital to prepare and execute reconnaissance of your area as you secure and maintain vigilance for any variable and under all conditions. Of course, that example is based on the Army background and reference that I had the honor to experience and then to relate to you, hopefully today, in terms of resilience. This discussion is essentially LPOP in action here and now. Preparing for battle and enemy contact, Ming? In a way, yes, but more just as a good habit in the focus of and on this moment and this day. Those terms I share with you, I learned them then, but also use them each day now. For example, in terms of the resilience message I've been sharing with you, listening and observing from this post, from behind this microphone right now, as I record this, I'm listening and observing from this post. And yet, from this temporary position, and also because I can move around from this post in my house, outside, in my car, going to a meeting, going to the store, I have this mobility as well. And I have to have this necessary resilience wherever I go and whatever I do. So I guess the key point, and it's not going to be a long, drawn-out dissertation on this term, LPOP, but each and every one of us have that capability. If you get a chance to review the website, 820podcast.com, you'll get a overview of some excerpts in the book where it talks about the importance in one of the models, one of the process models about listening. And obviously, the top model in resilience in the book is observation. The top model really is observation and communication. That's the overarching model for the entire book. But even underneath that there are other sub-models, other sub-process models for life that emphasize the listening part. And even in other areas in the book, several areas in the book, and across many 820 episodes, I have emphasized the simple yet critical and essential value. Yes, in communicating, but first and foremost in listening, particularly in leading. I won't get into it today, but even when I was, quote unquote, successful in leading platoons and companies in the Army, I didn't do that from the books and teachings at West Point. That came from the PFCs, the specialists, the privates, the sergeants in the companies and platoons that I had the honor to be in charge of. They taught me how to lead, but they taught me how to listen. I had an idea, even from West Point, when I told myself, when I became an upperclassman, as I was treated as a plebe, be yelled at and, dismissed and disparaged a bit. Nothing offensive, but I told myself I would never treat even someone of a lower rank than me in that way. It always would be on the basis of listening. Although back then, decades ago, I didn't know that was that important to me, but it was just a matter of respect. But listening and observing and then communicating, that to me has more traction and more substance than anything I've ever learned about this thing called resilience, and definitely where I started learning about resilience and leadership. I hope that helps you stay mobile and also stay aware, keep listening, observing from whatever post that you occupy. It has to move. You have to move. You have to grow. You have to learn. You have to lead. But first, listen, observe, and then communicate. Stay present. Stay current. No matter where you are in this world, it is always 820.